Welcome to Business Life TV. Today I have with me hang on, let me do that again. You don't need to cut, right? Welcome to Business Life TV, where I talk all things business and marketing. Today I have with me Jasky Singh, who is a business owner and he's also an MC on the side. In a past life, sorry. So welcome on board, Jasky.
Pleasure to be.
I'm going to ask you some questions, and one of them is, for those who don't know you, tell us what you do, tell us about your business.
Sure.
Then we'll go into your story after.
Sure. So look, there's a few sides of it. I guess the main business, in which I'm trying to do as much branding as I can,
Awesome.
is K2 Audiovisual, and that being one of your working together with you doing all our online marketing. That's what pays the bills. That's what I do day in, day out.
Awesome.
And K2 Audiovisual is essentially a AV integrator, which sounds like gibberish to most people, but it's technology from a business perspective, technology into meeting spaces, boardrooms.
Great.
That boost their productivity.
Great.
Right. So we essentially find different solutions, technology-wise, projector, etc., wireless, whatever it is, based on what the business is, to really try and increase their productivity.
Awesome.
On the other end, what I do is more of a personal branding / passion exercise. Is more just a lot of writing, just different channels of trying to share experiences, learn about things which I'm passionate about, and to try and just distribute them to people. So I call it more of you call it the Jasky side of a business, but those are the two things that take up most of my time.
Now, you got a really interesting story in terms of how you created K2AV and how it succeeded. And K2AV is actually pretty big in WA. I think it's the biggest, from what I understand, in terms of audiovisual services. But tell us about the story. How did you start and how did you get to where you are?
Okay, so I guess I can link it onto my story, which then leads on to K2.
Please, yeah.
So I was initially, I studied electrical engineering and computer science.
Yep.
It's 5.5 years, which most would consider a waste. But anyway, because I only worked as an engineer for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Then got into music. I always had a passion for music.
Awesome.
It was more the fact that I think I'm someone that just really likes words, and using words to convey a message, be it from a marketing perspective, which we're both very passionate about. Just trying to find how words can influence people, which I feel they're very, is a very potent weapon in your arsenal. Anyway, so from there I got into music, and then we hit top 20 artists on YouTube in Australia, nice. Reached Channel 10. On primetime news with our music video, got one of the hottest artists at the time to actually feature in our music video.
So you created music videos? Is that what you did?
We had a record label.
Oh, you had a record? Oh, wow,
so
nice.
Our record label, which wasn't paying any artists, but it was a record label nonetheless.
Of course.
It was mostly hip hop music.
Great.
And I was a rapper. We had one
Nice.
other rapper, and then a couple other singers who were all
beautiful.
ad hoc basis. So anyway, we're doing videos and publicizing the music, reaching out to American A&R, artists in recruitment, or whatever they're called. I don't know what they are, but the people that recruit businesses.
Yeah, right.
Then, through there we met with, who is my business partner now, a guy named Chris, who was just a genius from the audiovisual and music side of, very meticulous character when it comes to working with music, and I met him through music. And anyway, from there, music wasn't making me money, so it wasn't a financial decision. Going from engineering to go into music is a big tangent of what you can potentially be paid financially to earning nothing. And,
Parents would have been happy.
Sticking with beans and noodles or whatever. From his perspective, he saw an opportunity, and it was. The funny thing was, it came from a French video, which wasn't even in English. Some guy showing which is now the most common technology you'll see in a classroom, is the interactive projector. Back then it was all about interactive whiteboards. And he saw it, he called me at night and goes, look, because at that time I was really wanted to improve my sales abilities and go out and do my own thing. Yeah. And he was like, look, I've got this opportunity, it's going to absolutely kill it. I want you on board. Yeah. And I had no idea, I didn't get it. I wasn't in AV. And I said, look, I'll give it a try. And from there, we got a really, a really good kickstart where we got a massive deal through a client. We're like, whoa, this could be big. And then it, like business does, went up, skyrocketed down, had the, topsy-turvy journey. At one point, we were pretty much negative bank balance where we'd actually bought more equipment than we had money coming in. So it was a tough decision because we had a couple of employees at that time and we thought, look, we're going to pull the plug. And I said, we'll just keep trying at that time. And as it does, and I've noticed, and I'm sure we'll talk about more, is, you've got to be, you've got to understand that that's part of the cycle, right? And I'm sure you've experienced it as well. That is part of the cycle. And then from there, it's just been, touch wood, been going well. And I'm very grateful. And we've grown to, more than 15 employees full time. Are now the largest with about 60% market share in education. Do a lot of tier 1 corporates and continue growing.
Awesome. And from what I know, it start off with 3 guys and a broken down van. Is that the motto?
Three guys, broken down station wagon, a Ford station wagon, and
hustling.
And straight up hustling, doing about 4 or 5 demos a day.
Oh wow.
And and the projector we had. We actually had to convince the supplier to borrow it so that we could actually go out and do a demonstration. So, it sounds like a fun story, but at the time it was tough, man. But we did it because we enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you always think you would get into business? Like, was it something as a kid you wanted to do, or not really, not necessarily?
I think it was always, I just wanted to do something different. I wasn't necessarily, I was never really business orientated because I'm not a very technical person. And so I was never like, hey, I'm into numbers or I want to grow a business or anything. It was just that I want to do something which gives me, again, I may be saying this in retrospect, that it gives me control, but I don't know if that's what I wanted. I just wanted a creative outlet.
Yeah, creative outlet.
And I was really just, passionate about just creating something that would resonate with people. And I think I'm still doing that.
Yeah. What are the biggest tips you'd give to them? Because there's so many things, like from sales to cash flow management to staff management to how to hustle to the technical side of things. What would be the top, say, 2 things you would say to them they need to learn?
Then it comes down to having enough customers. Right, there is no business until you have clients, right? So all the operations management, all of that stuff is hassle that'll come with the. Again, I say hassle. Some people love it. I find it a hassle. So I try and delegate as much as I can, which which is possible. But it comes down to having clients, and I think you've just got to be smart because a lot of people, and I know when you do your own business, a lot of people come up to you and go, "Hey, man, I got this absolutely amazing idea. It's gonna do this and this." One is they'll never take action, right? There's a lot of people that'll just talk a lot of smack and not actually take action. And I don't think it's them doing it in a self-inflicting way. It's the fact is that they're fearful. Fear is a big part. Fear for us is every day there's fear, right? That doesn't go away. You're recording these videos, there is some sense of fear there, right? But you'll do it because it's self-learning, whatever it is. But you can tell that better than I would. But the thing is, until you can get clients, and I think there's a smart way of doing it, and I don't think I did it, which was just straight up hustle and then hope for the best. And a lot of it's luck. We were lucky, we were at the right time. If we were 2 years later, 2 years earlier, it wouldn't have worked out, right? So there's a lot of luck involved. And I think you've got to be able to test your assumptions. Right? So if there's one tip, is go, okay, I've got this great idea. It could be the greatest idea, right? But test it. There's ways to test it, right? We can get into details if you really want, but there's ways to test it. And if you test it, you'll know if it's a valuable proposition.
That's right. Before going too far ahead and wasting your time and money.
Of course,
And on the subject of hustle and getting clients, how did you guys do that, or how did you do that?
When we're such a niche business, because AV to education, and at the time it was just one projector to an education audience. It's such a niche thing that, and the reason I think the niche is important is because you have complete focus. You're not competing as much. Because you're literally one of very little. So big fish in a small pond, right? Type of thing. So how we got those customers, like I say, luck, timing, a lot of it is all part of the part and parcel. But the fact that we were in that space with a innovative technology, which Chris was very strongly behind, and having the fact that his knowledge and belief and his experience made it all possible. But the actual steps we took were just pounding the pavement, man. That was literally seriously, that's literally what it was. It
is
every day picking up the phone till today. 5 years on, every day I make phone calls, and I'll do it forever because I know there's no other self-development measure for me that's better than
Agreed.
that. Just pick up the phone, because you're not. I know I'm not saying this that anything against SEO or PPC or whatever.
Of course,
It's a great branding exercise, but I think people that rely on it will be at the peril of it, because until a lead comes in, you have no control. Whereas if you can pick up the phone and call someone, you can control your leads, right?
Yeah.
So that was all it was. I picked up the phone and said, hey, we've got this thing. The first 5 pitches were garbage, 10 were garbage, and you get better.
And how did you get over that fear, or was it the lack of choice, like the mind frame that, hey, I've got to make this work, or I'm going to not eat? Or was it because you were brought up a certain way, or was it really hard to get rid of that fear? Like, how did you get rid of that fear?
There's fear. Like I said, there's fear every day. Every time I have to make calls, there is that fear. But I don't think you ever get over it. I think it's the fact is you learn to just work with it. You just know it's part of it. You're going to screw up. You're going to have the guy at the other end tell you, sorry mate, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And he would do it many times. But I think, there is and I'm one of those people that's motivated by, what is it called? The not to word something away from something else. So what I mean is, if you give me an amazing goal to do this, it'll motivate me. But if it says, hey, you don't do this, you've got no other option. That really pushes me, right? Hey, if I don't make these calls, I'm not going to have work. We're not going to be able to pay input. All right, I've got to get on the phones, right? So it's a combination of it. But I think, you're right. That was definitely one of the biggest factors.
Okay, now do you think you could ever go back to working for the man? Or would that be a real struggle?
I don't think anyone should. Like, if you want to ask me honestly, I don't think anyone should. And why I say that is because, look, if I'm hiring, I'm just going to be honest, if I'm hiring someone for, say, 60 grand, I want to get at least 70 grand back, right?
Yeah.
So that person is never going to earn the potential that the business is earning, right? So the person who's got the business is always going to try and make a profit off an employee. And then your aim is, not in a ruthless way, we love our employees, we obviously, want to do everything by them and they work really well, and we're a family. But in the end, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, you want to take them from 60 grand to 50 grand to 40 grand to 30, 20, and then zero, right? Because that's what automation is. Get rid of them and you have 70 grand as opposed to, what it is. So, if there's an option, don't work for someone else, right? But if that isn't an option, work for something you really enjoy.
Do you think entrepreneurs or business people are born, or are they made? Is it? Do you think that it's some people are not made to be entrepreneurs and they shouldn't? What are your thoughts?
I think, it might be a combination. Because I think there's certain, I guess it comes down to if you believe people are born with an innate ability to do something. I don't know. I think maybe I was born to just talk to people, right? I think that's what it is. If you're able to talk to people, you communicate, but you can also learn it, right? There's a lot of things I've learned that, over the years that I didn't have skills of before.
What do you think, what are the biggest challenges for you in the business? Is it the lead? Is it the sales side of things, constantly having to generate business, or is it the cash flow? Is it the staff management? Is it something else?
I think for me personally, it'll probably be different for my other business partners. For me personally, it's the management side, right? I'm really bad at it, and I'll be honest, I'm not good at, exceptionally good at motivating people apart from a sales side. And that's because I'm incredibly critical on myself. And I think a lot of us are, right? And I'm sure you're the same. I think it's just, it's that side of things, just having to, I don't think the client side, I enjoy that. It's just the management side for me.
But tell me what excites you about the AV side of things.
Just having technology, just being around new technology, finding out what's at the front line of technology out there. And I really love, obviously the corporate side is a little bit different to education. We do a lot of work in education. I love seeing that, like a really relevant story is one of our very early clients, which was a very reasonable sized primary school. And this was at that time when, we were sort of just in the gloom phase where things just weren't going right, weren't getting enough jobs. And we installed a system in their classroom with one of these teachers. And she was, incredibly excited. They spent a fair bit of budget to put it in there into a few classrooms. And then, we're like, what do we do? This is just not going right, etc. And getting a call, she called us later that day and she was like, hey, look, I'm just so grateful for the system you put in. Our students are just working better. My motivation is just high, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, we've actually done something that's made a difference.
Yeah.
So I think it was sort of, I think it's that. The fact is you put something, use technology to actually add some sort of value to someone.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's specifically the audio visual, what integration excites me, and that excites our team a lot in terms of what's doing that. But for me, it's more of the high level. Hey, if I put something here, if I put something in Zion's office, you're going to call me and say, hey, man, that made a difference. People in our office now are doing X, Y, Z. We're actually creating more value. We're having shorter meetings, whatever it is. I go, hey, that is exciting.
That's awesome. So it's really, from what I get, the love for technology, but also the love of having a result coming from that technology and what you've done with it. And you're a very results-driven person, aren't you, Jasky? Like, those stats matter. So that's kind of what I'm getting, which is awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool, bro. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed that. That was part 1 of my interview with Jasky. Look, stay tuned for part 2, where we will hear more from Jasky. Until then, see you later.